The Diary of Anne Frank was released in 1980. This is directed by Boris Sagal. It's written by Francis Goodrich and Albert Hackett, based, of course, on the Diary of Anne Frank. And we have a cast including Maximilian Schell, Joan Plowright, James Coco, Doris Roberts. We have Melissa Gilbert as Anne Frank, and I think the casting there was brilliant. And it's basically the story of Anne Frank and what happened with her family during the Second World War. I feel like it's not something that I could spoil, but just in case you don't want to know too much detail, basically the Jewish family were forced into hiding during the Second World War. I won't really go into any more detail than that. It's not the most comprehensive film, by which I mean if you're looking for a complete history of what happened to the Frank family, this is not going to be a thorough film, but as far as I can tell, there is a lot of factual elements to this. It seems to be, based on what I can remember, it seems to be very heavily biographical, which is what I would expect from this kind of film. And the characters feel very believable. Their emotions generally feel very realistic. Obviously, because of the situation, this is set in a very small space, and it was very easy to get the sense of that, to feel like they were in this enclosed space, and it really helped to create an atmosphere that was often obviously uneasy and unnerving, but also the family coming together and being there for each other. It had quite a nice atmosphere, a supportive atmosphere. So there were a lot of different emotions here. It made me feel a lot of different things. It wasn't necessarily as emotional as I had expected it to be. Often when it comes to films about the Second World War, specifically films that look at Frank and what happened there, they are often quite heavy. And obviously there is a lot of heaviness to this, but it wasn't as, I guess, scary as I thought. There are other films that look at Anne Frank and what happened to the Frank family, and they often feel a lot more tense, whereas this one feels dramatic, but not as much as some others. So if you're looking for the story, but you're not looking for something that's going to absolutely make you cry all of the way through, this one's not as heavy as some interpretations. But that's not to say it's light. It's not fluffy. It's not flippant. I think they did manage to get a balance with the tone, and we get to focus on the characters more, and the performances are really brilliant. So if you are interested in Anne Frank, in the Diary of Anne Frank, and indeed what happened with her family. As I said, maybe not the most comprehensive, but there's still a lot of information in this. The characters felt very believable. They were presented in ways that, I guess, fit my image of what the characters are like. Obviously, they're real people. I have seen many interpretations of the characters, and definitely they were portrayed in a way that makes sense to me. So ultimately it was a film that I thought was worth watching. It's not as emotional as some similar films, but that's not to say it's light and airy and an easy watch. So I think they have a good balance there. Great performances. The characters come across as very well written. I think the narrative is very well handled. So needless to say, I thought it was definitely an interesting experience. And if it sounds like the kind of film you'd be interested in, then I'd say the 1980, The Diary of Anne Frank, is one that is worth watching.